Storey here with the BCC Coupon Book. Tune in during drive time every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. on the Tan Talk Radio Network to hear the BCC Coupon Book radio show. We feature local small business owners with great deals for many services and restaurants in our listening area. And anyone interested in branding your business and getting your name out there, give us a call at the BCC Coupon Book, 727-804-6082. Have a great day, Tampa Bay.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
Caregivers around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. Because I got a bunch of that stuff on this show where you can find help and hope. And with me on the boards today is the fabulous Ed. How you doing, Ed?
Oh, not too bad. Good looking Friday out there. It's starting to warm up a little bit.
Yes, nice. It's nice. And the sun is out.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Makes a big difference.
I like those rainy, cold days once a year, maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and then you just nest for that one day.
Yeah, if I want that, I can move to Cleveland or something, you know.
Exactly.
And that's springtime in Cleveland.
Exactly. And so as you can see or hear, my best friend, my co-host, Lynn Thornley, is not with me today. Again, because she still has the cootie, not the COVID cootie. It's the, it's the respiratory bronchial cootie that seems to last for like 2 weeks. And Lynn has it, and her sister Joni has it, and her friend Frank has it. And it's like, I'm like, keep your cooties to yourself. But I miss you, Lynn. So I hope you're all, both Lynn and Joni and Frank are all feeling a bit better, and that Lynn will be back next week. Because, if Lynn was here today, because Monday's Valentine's, we would have had Valentine's clothes on. She probably would have had hearts coming out of the top of my head or something like that. But sorry, you're not getting any of that this week. I did have a great week, though. I went to New York City for a couple of days, so that was kind of cool. So I went to New York City. I got to see my fabulous stepmother, Heidi, and we got to go to her cousin Joy's 80th surprise birthday party, and it was in Brooklyn, and it was at this little Italian restaurant with all the Italian guys, and there was somebody there that knew somebody for the flowers and somebody who knew somebody for the cake. And if you need somebody, we got it for you. And part of me felt like, so at home.
I always wanted to do that, go to a real New York Italian place and just people watch, Oh
my God, this was like fabulous. We had a private room. There was probably 22 women, her girlfriends, her daughters, and her granddaughters who threw the party. Fabulous food, fabulous Prosecco. But yeah, we really had a good time. And then the next day, we went to see the Broadway show, The Tap Dance Kid. And that was, I just love any kind of dancing, but tap dancing is something different about that than anything else.
Now, do they really talk like that up there? I need some coffee over here.
Yeah, they do in certain areas. I have a little bit of it.
Do you try to fit in?
Well, it's funny. When I first moved to Florida, I used to go, that was in 2000. I used to go to this networking group. And so I would go there and say, hi, my name is Linda, blah, 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 blah. I just moved here from New York. So after like the third week, they go, you don't have to tell us. You just moved here from New York. But I'm like a little proud of that. I got to go back and get that like influx again. So yeah, it was all really, really good stuff. But I'll tell you, so I flew back home like, I left 4 a.m. Tuesday morning.
And you had a nice flight, you said.
Yeah.
You had to stretch out.
All the flights are great. There was nobody sitting next to me. It was fabulous. But I got home, I was like a little, I don't know. I pulled into Tampa Airport like 9:30, but then I was exhausted from the 3 days of having so much fun. And I could not believe it. I didn't realize until Wednesday, I didn't post my Tuesday tip.
Oops.
Which I've been doing for 2.5 years. But what made me feel really good about it when I realized that on Wednesday, I didn't crucify myself, because if it was like a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago, I would have said, oh my God, I didn't post a tip. What will my caregivers do? But now, since I grew up a little bit more, I'm like, I'll just post it on Wednesday. So I apologize to anybody that was looking for it on Tuesday. But it was all good. So we have a fabulous woman calling in today. And her name is Lisa Storey, and she is from Hope Grows. So welcome, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on your show today, Linda. It's good to hear your voice.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here today. So Lisa and I met a few months back. I don't know who referred us to each other.
You know what? That's what we tried to figure out when we first started to talk. We were like, one of your emails came into my inbox, and we couldn't figure out how that happened.
Who knows? It's like all cyberspace. Sometimes it's really good.
Right. When it does that kind of thing, absolutely.
But anyway, so we met and we had a Zoom call, a fabulous Zoom call, and got to know each other. And I got to know more about what you do, which just makes me very excited. And I'm very excited to say you're going to be part of our next conference too, which is just fabulous because the whole purpose of this show is to help caregivers and to let caregivers know about resources and to let caregivers know that there's a better way. So just tell us a little bit about Hope Grows, how it started, who you are.
Okay. Are you, so you didn't share anything about me up till this point?
Just the mission. That was it.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I'll just start off with who I am as a person. So, I guess professionally, I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also what's called a certified thanatologist. I know that's a big word.
Yes.
And not a very common word. But thanatology is the study of death and dying. So I am certified to teach at the college level and also about grief and death and dying, to provide an education and also to, do counseling and also teach about counseling. So
and make it all a better experience.
Yes, absolutely. So credentially, that's who I am, personally, I've been married to my wonderful spouse for 40 years this year.
God bless.
I have 4. I know. Yeah, he says that sometimes too. God bless. And I have 4 grown children, 7 grandchildren, and 1 on the way.
Yay!
Yay! I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait for another little one.
Yeah.
And I also have, personally, we've traveled to all 50 states in the United States. And I will have to say that living and interacting with nature in Sedona, Arizona has been probably the most spiritually, most profound experience ever.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit about me. The nonprofit, I'm a founder as well as the executive director. And let's see, I'll start with my father. He died of pancreatic cancer in 2005. That was my second parent that I had lost. And grief, I was just torn with grief.
Yeah.
And I did not know how to evolve from that. I was very angry, very sad, very frustrated, and I retreated to nature in a way that I found very healing. And
I love that photo of you hugging in a tree.
I know. I lost one of my favorite photographs.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't grow up being out in nature. My dad was an avid outdoorsman.
Right.
But I retreated to nature in a different way. I retreated and I kind of poured anger into the earth, and I started to create these beautiful gardens around my home.
Oh.
And to now I have a certificate also in horticultural therapy. And we use our gardens here on the property to help caregivers connect, rebalance, restore, and just get that energy back.
If I can just make a little interjection quickly here. So a woman used to come to my support groups, and to make a long story short, she moved back to Florida to take care of her aunt who was dying. And her aunt was an artist. So she said in her house, all over is sculptures, this and that. But she always says to me her most favorite place is in the garden, because when she's out there, she feels like she's closest to God. She said, but my aunt's too fragile to go out in the garden. She said, so we had a chat. And what she did was she contacted all their relatives and friends and asked them to mail pots with soil and bulbs.
Oh.
And a story. And so every day, all these new pots and bulbs came in, and her aunt planted them and read the story. She said, and then they would bloom, bloom, bloom. And she said, when the last one bloomed, my aunt passed away. She said,
wow.
and now what I'm doing is I'm taking all these pots back to where I live in Georgia and building a garden in her memory.
Oh, beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
So you get it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and it's the interesting thing about being in a garden or, you know, working your hands in the earth is a lot of people don't realize this, but there is a good bacteria in the soil that actually releases serotonin in the brain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you come in from being out in the garden for an hour or two and you're working the earth, you feel better. There's a good reason why, because chemically your brain is feeling better.
Wow.
Which in turn makes your emotions and your feelings and your mental state feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some truth to all that. But so, you know, back to the mission of Hope Grows. So as I was creating these gardens, you know, and just out of my own healing, I had some divine intervention with a dream from my father, and we were walking through this beautiful, lush garden. Every time I looked at the sun rays, I saw his face smiling down at me. And when I woke up that middle of the night from that, the first words I spoke were "Hope Grows." And I just, at that point, like he was trying to tell me something. So, you know, just the whole part of my healing.
Well, the best part is you listened.
Yeah, I did. You're right, I did. Oh my goodness. And you know, I got to tell a little bit of part of who I am. Like up to that point, I was always the type of person that if you went after something and it failed, or you know, an opportunity closed, I'd stand behind that closed opportunity and go, okay, what did I do wrong? Like, what could I have done better to have made it work? And now I just go, okay, Dad, show me the open window now that door's closed.
Exactly. Well, you know, years ago, I used to pray for strength, and then I got a lot of stuff to be strong about. Now I just pray for clarity.
There you go.
Yeah.
My sister always used to tell me, stop praying for patience. She said, because God will just give you more things to be patient about.
Wow. It's true.
So, it is true. I know. It is so true. But, you know, so from there, I just kept evolving my feelings and thoughts, and it just evolved into this mission to support caregivers. And at that point, I incorporated the nonprofit, and that was in 2010. 2012, we became an official 501c3 charity. So we're in our 10th year as a mission, and that's basically how we got started. It evolved out of just my own healing and also just some divine intervention, and plus, you know, I also looked at the stats in Pittsburgh to see, because we're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and what's needed here. And there wasn't a whole lot of caregiver support then.
Well, I think everybody that comes to the caregiving table, however they come to it, it's all because of inexperience.
I agree with you.
It's all because I took care of mom, dad, my spouse, my whatever, or I saw something was wrong, or I needed to make something different. And I love that because, you know, and I love every caregiver that listens to this radio show, because the people that listen and the people that those are the caregivers that care, that really care,
right?
Where they want to learn whatever they can learn. But it's also our responsibility to help them just help themselves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And with that, you know, we can talk about that in a little bit, but comes that, learning what your emotional and mental needs are, and, and looking at the reasons of why we're ignoring our own self-care in this.
Right.
So I don't know how you want to, move through this time we have together, but you kind of guide me on what you want.
You lead me. You tell me what my caregivers need to hear.
Okay. Well, all right. That's fine. So, like I said, that's how we became a mission. That's the history and the story behind the mission. And from there, we started to build, our services and our programs. And, currently today, we are a direct care service provider of caregiver support. And we do that through, oh my gosh, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different ways that we get a caregiver to connect with themselves through our organization for emotional and mental, support.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those 12 ways.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So I would say our biggest program that we have is called Think Caregiver, and it is funded. It's a grant-funded project or program, and our funder for this is our biggest insurance company here in the Pittsburgh region or Pennsylvania region, and that's UPMC.
Okay.
And I always like to give them a plug because they support us a bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, what the program is that a caregiver opts in to receive monthly check-in phone calls. So they're not the ones that have to reach out for the support. We call them.
Yeah.
And just check in. A lot of times we're leaving a message, because they're too busy to answer or they're not around.
But there's still that message.
And that's the feedback we get from caregivers. Like months later, they'll call and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I haven't returned your call, but just please know that your voicemail that day meant the world to me. That knowing that somebody out there is caring about me."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not for people in Pennsylvania. We call people in different states. So you Florida listeners that are out there,
yay!
if you want to, get involved with a monthly check-in phone call, please, reach out through our website, which I'm sure you'll get all that information.
Okay, but say what it is anyway, your website.
It's hopegrows.net.
Okay, and everything will be in the show. But really, reach out, people, because a phone call can make the world of difference.
Absolutely.
I have one caregiver that told me she got a call from an aunt of hers and just telling her what a fabulous job she was doing and how wonderful she was and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, I save that. And when I'm having, a tough time, I just play that back to myself and I can't tell you what it means to me.
Right. Oh, right. And that's great. That is awesome that her aunt is actually doing that. That's great.
Yeah.
So that monthly check-in phone call, we've got trained listeners that, sometimes we're on the phone with somebody for 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes. It just depends on, what time
what's
the
needed
caregiver has and want to open up about.
Yeah.
And also we're listening for a different need. Is there a need for mental health counseling, which we do here in Pennsylvania? Any other listener out there that's in the mental health field in Florida, if you'd want to join us and be able to offer our Hope Grows Care model down there, let us know. Reach out.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, because we can't counsel outside of the state of Pennsylvania.
Right.
We're always looking for partnerships somewhere.
Yeah, because we all work together, and that's what's fabulous about this.
Yes, absolutely. So in addition to the monthly check-in phone calls, caregivers can also sign up for our weekly simple self-care suggestions that are delivered either to their email inbox, or through texting on their cell phone.
Nice.
Yes. So, and again, there's no cost involved in either of these programs or, either of these support things under this program called Think Caregiver. So
that's fabulous, because sometimes you just need that little reminder.
You do. Right. To take a deep breath, our motto here is just 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes out of a day that consists of 1,440 minutes. You can find 10 minutes.
Yeah. When you put it that way.
Right. But it's hard though. It is. It's hard.
All right. So tell me another one of the 12.
Yeah. So the other one is our Root of Good Care Counseling. And like I said, that is, pretty much for Pennsylvania residents because of the mental health counseling piece to this. But again, like I'm going to plug it again, if there's somebody listening in the state of Florida that wants to jump forward with our model, let us know. So, and then we also do different support groups, which are virtual. We do a morning tea support group, and that is for current caregivers. And then we also, which is unique to, I think, our mission, is that we follow our caregivers after they've lost their care receiver.
Exactly.
So we do a life after caregiving support.
Well, if you give me the information on that support group, I'll put it on my website, because I also do support groups, but I want to also encourage people to go to other support groups and different things. And what you're saying has been very familiar to me lately, because people are in my support groups 2, 3, 4 years. And a lot of them recently, their loved ones have passed. And now they're coming to me for grief support. And I'm grieving. It's only a little over a year since my husband passed. So, but I get that point where they come back because they want to help other caregivers. And there's just that community that's built.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Very, very good. I know what you do too is just amazing. I know when we connected by phone and you were sharing with all what you do, I was just like, this is awesome. We connected. So.
I'm just a funnel. I don't know what I'm doing.
I laugh sometimes thinking that too. Like, I entered into this mission of Hope Grows with a passion to help,
right?
Because of my credentials as a therapist, and here I am, the executive director. And some days I go, you know what? I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I'm just doing it.
Exactly. Well, can you hang on for a little while? We just need to hear from our wonderful sponsors.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I'll stay on. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's time to hear from our wonderful sponsors, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you looking for compassionate and dependable home care for you or a loved one? Assisting Hands Home Care, serving Pinellas and Pasco counties, can help.
The day came that taking care of my mother was no longer the best thing for me or for her. Between kids and a job, I couldn't give her the attention she needed and deserved, and I was overwhelmed. So I reached out to Assisting Hands Home Care. Now I can see what an important decision that was, and I feel confident that my mother has compassionate and dependable caregivers who help her to stay happy, healthy, and home. Today, I'm able to visit with my mother and enjoy our time together, which is exactly what we both needed.
Assisting Hands Home Care. Call today for your free in-home consultation. In Pinellas, call 727-748-4211 or visit assistinghands.com. When you can't do it all, give Assisting Hands a call.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Sean W. Scott has been practicing elder law and qualifying clients for Medicaid for over 30 years. While his practice is in all areas of estate planning, such as durable power of attorney, healthcare surrogates, and wills, he also prides himself on having a 100% accuracy rate on getting clients approved for Medicaid. Why Medicaid, you may ask? Do you want to pay up to $16,000 a month for a nursing home should the time come? Obviously, no one wants to have to endure this cost. So even though you may have planned well for retirement, the reality is things happen. Planning ahead is never too soon. You need to make sure your income and assets are protected so that you can take care of you and your loved ones. Florida law is very specific on how and what is protected and how to protect it. Give Sean a call. He can help. 727-539-0181. That's 727-539-0181.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
So glad to be back. And the owner of the radio station just gave me some free tickets here to the Florida State Fair. So if you're interested in winning one of these tickets, you can just contact me through the website, lindaburhans.com. And we'll randomly pick a couple winners. And this is from February 10th to 21st. So you have a bunch of dates to pick from. And that's very cool. So thank you so much, Lola, for giving us that. So let's get back to Lisa.
Yes, I'm here. I loved your commercial break. That was just amazing.
Thank you. So let's talk about the emotional and mental needs of the caregiver. Oh, wait a second. Just 1 minute. Is that Doc Schumann? Okay, just give me a minute, Lisa.
Okay.
Hi, Doc. How you doing?
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing today?
Wonderful, wonderful. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So what is your tip for our caregivers today, Doc?
So today I wanted to talk about hydration, which is a classic topic. I feel like it's not quite as understood as everybody thinks, but it's worth talking about.
Yes.
So typically people assume that the old wives' tale of 8 cups of water a day is kind of the gold standard. And I feel like that's not a bad start, but you should also consider what it is you do throughout the day. So what would you say, how many glasses of water do you think you drink a day, Linda?
I mean, I don't know, how much is in a bottle? Those small bottles? Not the half bottles, the regular bottles. I probably drink about 6 to 8 a day.
That's actually pretty good.
Because I forced myself to do it, and then I got in the habit of it.
So you're definitely in a good place compared to most people. The average is much less than that people actually drink. And so if you were to just take your classic 8 cups in, a cup of water is 8 ounces. So it's about 64 ounces of water, right? So, and even that's actually more than the average that people actually drink. So people are drinking on average less than what they need. Right. So that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So we think about that, modify that. We're talking about the people that have physical jobs or exercise regularly.
Right.
They're going to want to drink more than the gold standard of 8 cups, right? So,
yeah.
Because they're using their bodies, they're burning off more of that. They need more of that water. Also, women that are pregnant or breastfeeding, they're going to need more water.
Yeah.
Right. So, you're thinking about what you do every day, you're going to want to modify the intake of that water and not just drink when you're thirsty.
Yeah, I think that because that means that's a little too late to me. So one thing I do is I drink a bottle of water before I get out of the bed. Well, I drink during the night too.
Great.
But I drink because I feel much better when I do that. For a while, I was getting like some Charlie horses, and it seemed when I started drinking more water, it went away.
When we think about why it's important, every cell, tissue, and organ in your body needs water to work, right? So if you don't have enough water, those things are not going to be working at 100%, and that's going to make you feel fatigued or just less than optimal. And that's silly because drinking water is easy.
Yeah, and it's everywhere.
That's right. Another factor that I left out, I think, is really important is your climate, right? So if you live in a very hot or dry area, you're going to need more water, right? So again, we live in Florida, right? So we typically is hotter than most climates. So it's smarter to drink a little bit more water than normal.
Well, I think if you're somebody like me too, and you sleep, you're a mouth breather, you need a whole bunch more water too.
Yeah, and so we lose water through sweating, breathing as well. As our mouth dries out, we're definitely going to be replacing that with fluid, right? So, very true.
Yeah. Well, every now and then, I rarely get a headache, but if I feel like I'm getting a little headache and I drink water, it doesn't happen.
Well, that's definitely a little bit of a sign of possible dehydration.
Yeah.
So, it's important to listen to your body.
Yeah, maybe not be grabbing a Tylenol or something. Just grab a bottle of water.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Doc. Thanks so much for being with us today, and I'll see you this week.
Awesome. Have a good weekend, okay?
Thanks, Doc.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, Lisa, we're back on.
Wonderful. Do you want me to finish talking about our all of our services?
Yeah.
Direct care service.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So one of our other programs that we started was a caregiver to caregiver mentorship program.
Okay.
And we worked with current caregivers, and then they went through our bereavement support after they lost their loved one. And we created, as you were talking about earlier, that community, that need to belong.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like they wanted to leave Hope Grows. So out of this need and want to give back, we created a caregiver to caregiver mentorship program where they're then matched with a current caregiver.
I love that.
Yeah, and they provide peer support just by phone or in person.
Oh, I need to know more about that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that because it's really kicked off well, and it's going well. So yeah, I can share that more.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more.
Yeah, and then we have two grant-funded programs that we're doing. One is a family caregiver coaching program. We're doing that with our local Parkinson's agency, and it has an intern counselor that works together with the caregiver and the care receiver together.
That's great.
To focus on the emotional mental challenges of the disease and illness.
Yeah,
and it's a 4-week program where they can deal with the issues that present because of the disease.
Because it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. My brother has Parkinson's, and him and his wife, they had a grand life. They didn't have children. They didn't have a big house. They didn't, they just had a grand life. And then their first challenge is Parkinson's.
Yeah.
It's a killer.
Yeah. It is, right. And that seems to happen quite a bit with people with Parkinson's around that age, because even if you had children, your children finally have left the nest as well, and now you're looking at future to enjoy travel or whatever and new hobbies and things together, and now all of a sudden this disease presents itself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of life transitioning that happens during that time.
Right, and not just for the person with the illness.
Correct. So that's actually going really well. That it's a newer program for us, and they're just thrilled with the outcomes that we're documenting with that. So that's one. The other is called Caregiver Connect, and this was a grant-funded initiative, and it was aimed to help caregivers focus some of their time and care toward their own well-being, as their care receiver has just been released from rehab. So it's like, they got this thing that happened to them. They went into the hospital, then to rehab. They're coming home. And now this family member is all about, oh my gosh, now what do I do?
Right.
So it's all about helping that caregiver stay somewhat stress reduced and
then do you help them also like with resources? So let's say, my loved one's coming home and now he needs a walker or a ramp or whatever.
Right. Well, that was not a part of the initial program, but that was a need that we found coming out of the first pilot of this. That there is a need for that type of care management. Yeah. That's fabulous. And then, so those are all of our counseling and support type programs. And then we have some programs under what we call Therapeutic Respite.
Okay.
And basically our Therapeutic Respite focus is all about how do we get that caregiver a break, basically a short break, whether it be for 10 minutes or whether it be overnight.
Yeah.
And so we created a program called Celebrating You, and it's a 1-day exclusive day of fun and relaxation designed with the caregiver in mind. With COVID, we made it an all virtual event 2 years ago, and then last year it was a hybrid event. And it's just a day of different activities that they can participate in, and it's just a positive day of rest for caregivers.
Yeah, I did something like that a few years back, and it was an event where they came in the morning, we had a little breakfast or something, and then there was dance movement if they wanted to do that. And then there was some like art therapy. And then I did the journaling portion of it. And it was very interesting, and it was so wonderful for the caregivers. And then another thing we used to do is some of the local communities around here, and I'm sure they'll do it more when we open up a little bit more, they would have a Caregiver Spa night. And the caregivers would come and they would give them a hand massage and a chair massage and some chocolate-covered strawberries and, gift baskets. Right. And I used to have to, like, pull my caregivers by the hair of the head to get them there. But they'd get there and they'd be like, oh, my God, Linda. This is so fabulous.
Yeah. I understand that. Our first go at doing this event, I think we had 40-some caregivers attend. And now we're up to almost 100, caregivers that attend the event. But it's right. And you know what? And that all goes to this place of why is self-care ignored?
Right.
For
everybody, not just for caregivers.
Right. You're right. And, and I don't know, just kind of jump right into it. But I think it's partly just in my experience, I part of it is that when you're stressed, you have to step back from that stress. And if you step back from that stress, you're almost at that point of like, what's going to fall apart if I stop doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And how much more effort and work is it going to be to resume once I've gotten back into where I left off?
Well, that boils down to why caregivers need to accept help and ask for help.
Absolutely.
Because I see that all the time. I'm like, just slow down. And once they can do that, it makes a world of difference because people want to help them. People want to help them. Exactly. And if they keep saying no to everybody, then people stop asking, and then they're really in a pickle.
Right. But accepting that help, though, it has a lot to do with our emotional side of who we are as humans, and that is we have to become vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, especially with caregiving, this is my responsibility. This is my loved one. This is my spouse. This is my mom. It's my responsibility. No, baby, it takes a village.
Right. I know. I had a caregiver once say to me, well, no one's going to be able to care for my loved one better than me. And my response was, you are right. You're exactly 100% right. No one is going to care as well as you do. However, you got to look at the whole other side of this is if you're not going to give yourself that moment of self-care and that moment of rest, you're not going to be able to give that excellent 100% care.
Well, when people say that to me about, it's them, I say, yeah, maybe nobody can take care of your mom as good as you can, but I bet you they could do laundry just as good as you. I bet you they could go food shopping just as good as you.
Right.
So just give up that part.
Yeah. Well, I always give the other side of it too, though. Sometimes our care receivers maybe need to know the 100% good care they are getting from their loved one or their spouse or daughter or whoever it is, so that when they do return, they can appreciate them that much more.
Well, and then there's the other side of the coin. I say to caregivers, I think sometimes the loved one is sitting there and saying under their breath, would you please go away for a couple of days and come back nice? Because we think we're doing a great job, but all of a sudden we're gritting our teeth when we're helping mom.
Right.
Or we're weepy or whatever the deal is. So I think sometimes the people, they're like, please give me a break too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And that's that emotional and mental awareness of who you are.
Yeah.
And where your limits are and what you can and can't tolerate.
Well, and there's a lot of fear too. What happens if something happens and I'm not there?
Right.
Because you're so vested in it. That there's that fear factor too.
Right.
And that's why we need to speak to other caregivers.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Because the alternative is, well, what's going to happen if you're not here?
Right.
Help. And I don't like to put fear into fear, but there's true statistics out there that a lot of caregivers are actually getting chronic illness themselves, and they're actually dying before their care receivers.
Oh, it's like a huge percentage. It's something like 67% of caregivers over the age of 70 are dying before the person they're taking care of.
Right. Yeah. I forget what.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah.
And unfortunately, the statistics are going up more and more each day, and that's not what I want to see.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's what fuels my passion to keep doing what we're doing here at Hope Grows, because no one should die doing the most wonderful thing for another human being, and that's providing care.
Well, I've also had people in the past 2 months, between caregivers and carees, there's been 3 suicides. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. We need to open our eyes. We need to help each other. And you may just have a neighbor that's the one that's struggling. They're a caregiver. Maybe just go over and knock on their door. Tell them to listen to this show. Tell them about the resources through Hope Grows. Tell them about the other resources. Just direct them to us.
Right.
Because no one should have to do that. And no person who is a senior who you're caring for, depression is not a part of aging.
Right.
It's not a normal part of aging. So just remember that. Sorry, I just had to stick that in there.
No. I totally get it. We started our model, 10 years ago with educate, because there was a lot of education that had to happen, and a lot of educating had to happen with trying to get the general public to understand why we're doing this.
Well, you have to educate them that they're caregivers before you can even help them.
Correct. And that when we started over 10 years ago, that's what we struggled, we were up against was caregivers.
Me too.
Even identity. Yeah. And we came up with this 3 R's, for the community, like, hey, community, open your eyes and look into your own community and recognize these are the symptoms of a caregiver, and then refer to support, and then reinforce, meaning follow back up with them and see how they're doing.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah. It's worked well. It really has. Communities, we've gotten a lot of communities on board here in Pittsburgh because of that message. Let's open our eyes and look into our community.
Yeah, we need to work together. I'm so blessed to be here in the Tampa Bay area because we've been doing senior care for a long time. And people really do work together, and that's what we do. We do refer because you may not be good for my community or my services, but I know somebody else that can help you.
It can help, exactly.
And that's what we need to do, because what goes around comes around.
Yes.
It does. Maybe not on the day you expect it, but
yeah, you're right on that. So I'll just kind of wrap up the rest of our services that we provide. So under our therapeutic respite focus, like I said, we have this Celebrating You event, which sounds like you've done something similar. We have what we call monthly therapeutic respite activities. And what that is, we used to do a lot of it in person, but COVID taught us we could put all this online.
Yeah.
And like your YouTube, we have a YouTube channel as well as Hope Grows PGH for Pittsburgh. And we put up every month some type of an activity that a caregiver can, click into and watch.
Oh, I'll look at that and I'll share that.
Yes, please do. There's just a wealth of different types of activities every month that we post.
I love that.
Yeah. And then the other thing we do is turkey meals. So we partnered with a local family restaurant here in our neck of the woods, Bob Evans, and they work with us to provide free turkey meals for caregivers needing a break during the Thanksgiving season.
Nice.
Last year we delivered 230 meals. So we are growing from when we first started in 2015, from 55 dinners to now 230.
I love that.
It's definitely a highlight of our year with everybody that works and volunteers for Hope Grows. They just come together. They just love this program.
Well, because you know what? It gives you so much gratitude for what you have.
Yeah, it does. It does. So does.
When you're grateful, then you just want to share with somebody else.
Right. I would say probably one of the hardest things some of our volunteers struggled with was there's no monetary or financial need. It depends on the stress of the caregiver. You know what I mean? Because some people would deliver a meal and they'd be like looking at their house going, you don't need this. And we're like, it's not about the money. It's about the stress. It's about the demand, the inability to be able to cook that meal.
It's about letting somebody know that somebody cares.
Yeah. So that's definitely our highlight.
Many years ago when I lived in New York, I was involved in this program, not through my church. It was, through some church. And once a week, I fed the senior. I would go to his house and bring him food. Half the time, he didn't really want the food. He just wanted me to sit and chat with him.
Oh, yeah.
It was very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So let's wrap it up. What's the last thing you need to tell our listeners?
Right. So another one of our programs, we do education, and we have 2 support series that we do. One's called Powerful Tools for Caregivers, and the other one is called Joy of Living. 2 different 6-week series for caregivers and past caregivers to encourage a focus on self and empowerment and wellness. Those are 2 other programs. Anybody anywhere can join those programs. Those in their the only fee that's involved is a material fee.
Fabulous.
With our Joy of Living.
Yeah, and I'll put all the information in the description of the show, which will be also on my website. And like I said, I'm so excited that you guys are going to be part of the conference, where we can just expound on some of the things we did today and help as many caregivers as we can.
Right. I got one more thing I want to
go ahead.
One of our programs, and it is we've been working on this for years, and that is we are opening an overnight respite house for caregivers to take a break away overnight.
I didn't know if you were ready with that yet, so I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, well, we will be open this summer. We should be open here with at least 1 or 2 bedrooms availability by summertime.
I love that.
We're so excited. Excited to make this a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning, because look where you've come from, where you started, where you are now, and who knows.
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, 2021 we supported 1,000 families.
Wow.
Yeah, and we do over 300 monthly check-in calls.
Yeah, that's so fabulous. And after this, you might be doing a few more.
That's right. Okay, that's why we're here.
Well, thank you, my friend. Thanks for being on the show. And what's the website again?
It's hopegrows.net.
Okie dokie. We'll talk soon.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much. Have a delicious day.
You too. All right.
Bye. And now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners. So don't go away on Connecting Caregivers Radio. We'll be right back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week. And did you know they got the Reader's Choice Award for 2019 for the best chiropractic in Pinellas County? So check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears, Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
Introducing the life-changing Footbar Walker.
I'm Peggy from Danville, Kentucky, and I'm 91 years old. The Footbar Walker revolutionized my care of George. It absolutely benefits the patient and the caregiver both, and that's the beauty of it. It's so easy to use. It folds up just like a dream. I got it in and out of the car without any effort at all. The saving that I made from having to put him in a nursing home came to about $192,000.
Does someone you love use a walker? Do they struggle to get up from a seated position? Are you a caregiver dealing with physical pain and stress as you help your patient? The Footbar Walker was designed to assist not only the patient, but also the caregiver. Patients have more control standing up, and no lifting from the caregiver is required. See how it works at thefootbarwalker.com. That's thefootbarwalker.com. Peggy, would you recommend the Footbar Walker?
Do I ever? I would not be in the health that I'm in today at this age had it not been for the Footbar Walker.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
So like I said, we got some free tickets here to the Florida State Fair. So if you are interested, just send me a message through lindaburhans.com and we'll put all the names in a hat and pick out some winners. We have 6 tickets here, which is very cool. You know, I want to read something that was posted on Facebook by my friend Vince Figaro. Vince is part of the Dementia Spotlight Foundation and the musical part, the Alzheimer's Music Fest, and he took care of his dad. And he wrote this, and I just think it's so poignant. I think it's worth reading. He said, "When my father lost the ability to sign his name, he taught me understanding. When my father lost his ability to be verbal, he gave me a voice besides my own. When my father lost the ability to groom himself, he taught me patience. When my father lost the ability to feed himself, he taught me how to put others before myself. When my father lost the ability to walk on his own, he taught me what love truly is. When my father lost the ability to be the man he once was, he gave me the wonderful man he was in that moment. When my father transitioned to eternal life, he gave me a purpose on this earth. He was loving, carefree, beautiful, and kind. He has taught me more about life through his journey than any school, job, or travel. He was not a perfect father when I was younger, and I was not a perfect son, but we were imperfect together. My best friend, my teacher, my beautiful dad. The skies are a little more clear with your spirit looking upon us." Touches my heart. Just touches my heart. Every day I'm surrounded by caregiving and things happen every day that break my heart. Things I see every day break my heart. And then I read things like this, and I'm surrounded by fabulous caregivers doing wonderful things. In the next couple of weeks, we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary with Connecting Caregivers Radio. Who the heck knew? I can't tell you how blessed I am to be part of your world and for you to be part of my world. We've come a long way. We're now on YouTube and Facebook and Apple, places we never even thought we would be before. And I am grateful for all of you, for the caregivers, for everything you do. And I'm grateful for what you teach me every day, because every day I learn something new from a caregiver or from an associate or from a guest on the show. Just some of the stuff today blew me away. So, you know what? I never said a shout out to our newest listeners, because Lynn was in here. Ramona in New York City, Gracie in Pinellas Park, and Magna in St. Pete. There's always plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers tables for new listeners. Thanks for tuning in today. I know how precious your time is. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.